Today I'm going on a Caroni Bird Sanctuary tour with the Nanan store group. It's a great family activity because of all of the wildlife there. The tours are $100 TT for foreigners and $75 for locals. These are adult prices, and there's also an option for a dinner tour where the price is based on the package that you choose.
We've been doing these dinner tours after we reopened from the pandemic. So this was my way of giving families their own private bubble. We do offer about 10 different menus. You can go with Italian, French, Cantonese, Asian, local curry, local Creole, and a whole lot more. And what you could also do is you could also tailor make your own menu. All right, we include wine and dessert as well, so it's a full experience for the dinner.
Okay, and how long in advance do you have to book that?
We need at least 2 days in advance to alert the restaurant and to get everything in place.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I did the signature boat tour, but this is an example of the dinner tour, the seating. There was also a boat with just 2 people, so you can tailor the tours based on the size of your group and the experience that you want. Here's our dinner party again. You can see the meals being shared. This was towards the beginning of the tour, so it seems as though they get their meals as soon as the boat takes off. So one word of advice, walk with long clothes, don't be like me, mosquito veil, or walk with your repellent, walk with sunscreen.
Is the central base for the forestry department where they have meetings, they have patrols and so on from at this point throughout the swamp, right? The road ends here where the vehicle can drive up to, and to the back here, to the back of the building here, you're gonna look to the left, there's the boardwalk. It has been recently advertised a lot to the back of the building. Right, the entry is free, but it's from 8 to 4.
Oh, and where does it take you?
So just a look at the road to the back of the building.
Okay, so there's a board. Oh yeah, be alert because that was me just getting slapped by a mangrove there. Of course, this Caroni Bird Sanctuary tour is where you can see our national bird, the Scarlet Ibis, by the thousands. There is a period though where you can see the birds in these large quantities. I believe it was from August to March, if I remember correctly. You can also see flamingos, which have taken up residence in the swamp around 2016. So when I came here as a teenager, I didn't see any flamingos. There are also herons, crabs, egrets, and other wildlife that you'll see later on. Over their head. Coming down where?
Okay, let's go quick.
In the swamp, you'll find 3 kinds of mangroves. The red mangrove, which is what you are seeing here. It's the main mangrove in the swamp. Their roots, if you see, they go into the ground and they look like chairs. There's also the black mangrove and the white mangrove. You'll see those later on in the video. The water in the swamp is brackish water, which is a mixture of salt and fresh water. The salt water comes from the Gulf of Paria, and of course the fresh water is the water from the rivers. This particular channel was called Drain number 9, and I believe it was 6 miles out to the Gulf of Paria. This channel is also accessible to anyone with private boats, but there are some channels in the swamp that you need a permit for. There's high tide and low tide conditions in the swamp. At the time we went, it was almost high tide. We were just about 1.5 hours out from high tide. It takes about 6 hours from high tide to low tide and vice versa. This was about 10 feet and it gets up to about 20 feet, if I remember correctly, during high tide. At this point in time, our tour guide was trying to direct our attention to what is called a silky anteater. It is the smallest anteater in the world and it is found here in our swamp.
Hello.
I mentioned earlier that you will find herons. This is an example of a blue heron and it feeds on crabs which you would see running along the roots of the mangrove. If you grew up in Trinidad, I'm sure that nest is so familiar to you. That's a termite nest. It's found in lots of places in the swamp, but you don't want it in your house. Here you have some crab holes. And here we have more crabs. This was so interesting to watch them run up and down the tree barks.
Right, so it's a different tree. These are dark colored pointed like. So this is the second species. They're the white one is look to the front here, right? This tree here not hanging over the water here. That's gonna reach closer. So we have the white and the black, also the red, but the dominant species is the red.
This is a black mangrove.
These red mangroves have several importance, right? The roots form like a trap. That's a trap the garbage and so on that comes after the rainfall. In the rainy season, the Caroni River is to the northern side here. And inside there takes a lot of water when the banks overflow and so on. But here don't get affected with flooding like elsewhere. The roots trap a lot of water, it breaks down the water pressure. What might happen? Water level higher than normal. Right? Because the area is tidal as well. So the roots also help hold the soil together that prevents erosion. Our western coastline is also protected by these trees and it acts like a barrier that protects our island from wind, rain, hurricanes and so on. Right?
Here's the last species of mangroves that we were introduced to, which is the white mangrove.
You cannot go that way. You need a permit to go that way.
Before we were in waters which was about 10 feet high, the depth of this water is 20 feet. So finally we're heading towards open water, and this is where you start to get some reception service for those of you who are wondering about phone service. Oh look, flamingos, do you see them? As I mentioned before, the flamingos have been resident in the swamp since about 2016. They flew over from Venezuela and they actually stay here. They eat all day and stand and maybe sit in the water, but this is the depth of the water that you see in there. They're standing. Here are more flamingos again. They feed on crab and shrimp. I think these flamingos are sitting in the water. As you can see, the sun is starting to set here. At this time, it's just about 5:30 p.m. and we are meeting the other boats that took off around the same time with us. Here's a couple on the dinner tour. This man put all the other men on the tour to shame. So we are at the area where all the birds coming to roost. Here you can see a snow egret. This is one of the birds that's resident here in the swamp. Again, there are also blue herons, as of course the Scarlet Ibis. It gets pretty noisy when the birds start to come in. Even the flamingos, they get really provoked. They start flapping their wings. I don't know if it's because the other birds come in and disturb their peace, if they don't want them in the area. I don't know. But it was pretty interesting to see them come in. We were reminded to be quiet because once we make too much noise, if one bird is disturbed and gets frightened, all of the birds will, and flies away, all of the birds will fly away. The Scarlet Ibis is a protected species, so there are fines if anyone is caught poaching. It's about $100,000, and there is a 2-year imprisonment that comes with that fine. I did go live during our time we spent here watching the birds come into roost, so you can check out that video if you want to just watch the birds come in. I'll leave a link to that video in the description below, but you can also find any videos related to this bird sanctuary tour in the Caroni Bird Sanctuary tour playlist. We started to head back just about 6:30 p.m. It may have been a little earlier, maybe 6:20, and very soon the mosquitoes started to bite. So if you're wearing shorts or short sleeve, be sure to wear your mosquito repellent.